catch the JP Peterson Show.
Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it's so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, it is Friday. Cannot wait for the weekend here. I know you can't either, but got lots to talk about today. We've got a great show for you. Anthony Becht's going to join us live from the NFL Combine at 10:30. He's been working out all the big tight ends there. Well, the Combine was explosive yesterday. I think 8 receivers under 4.4, a couple of 4.21s, a 4.28. Lots of explosive athletes at the Combine, and as it looks more and more likely that the Bucs are going to be keeping their first-round pick and looking at a lot of different positions that they have to fill. Well, good to know that at least there's one guy out there that thinks that the Bucs are going back to the Super Bowl, Donovan Smith. He's like, relax, don't worry, we're all good. Nothing to see here. We just lost the greatest quarterback of all time, half the offensive line. We got 11 free agents. No worries. No worries, Donovan Smith. It's Baghdad Bob, I guess. I don't know. What's up?
Professional smoke blower.
Yeah. Nick Geddes joins us here this morning from Outkick.com. How are you, sir?
I'm good. I feel like I'm recovering from an ass whooping last night myself as a fan.
Yeah. You were down below last night enjoying all the festivities.
Yes.
Got there early.
Yes, I did. That's what I made a point to tell you. I was like, we are here early. I saw puck hit everywhere. I got to see all.
Clearly the best part of the game last night.
The best part of the game. Yes.
Yeah, it was. Now we're going to get into that debacle, and got to give John Romano a lot of credit. He wrote a very insightful column today about your Tampa Bay Lightning. So we'll get into all that. We got a lot of stories to get into. We'll cover the Combine, Alexander Ovechkin, and the Russian war. And a lot of these Russian players are taking a lot of heat. Is it fair? Nick wrote a story for Outkick.com. We'll talk about that later on in the show. Leah Thomas, the trans swimmer, is headed to the Nationals. Big story in the New York Post yesterday has brought that back to our attention. And I put out yesterday on Twitter a very, I thought, interesting way to handle this situation. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Coach K will coach his last game at Cameron Indoor Stadium. You know, I had a couple of years up in North Carolina. I worked and did a lot of ACC games, spent a lot of time at Cameron Indoor Stadium. I actually played pickleball at Cameron Indoor Stadium one time. How about that? I had a lot of interactions with Coach K in my career, so I want to talk a little bit about that later on in the show. You also wrote a story on Ron DeSantis yesterday, and he was on last night. We're going to get into that a little bit. I was very interested to see WFLA did a poll yesterday, and we actually were talking about this yesterday on the show, like how many people think that he, bullied the kid. Like, and FBFL actually did a poll, and I was joking. I'm like 90% of people will be on DeSantis' side. The number was 89%.
It was 91 when I looked.
91% in like what? 20,000 votes.
Yeah. I don't know if that's what they were going for when they put.
No, they were most certainly not. Most certainly were not. I even put on there. I'm like, yeah. Now that this poll has turned out this way, is it actually going to make it onto the newscast? I didn't watch a newscast, so I'm not sure if it did, but. So we got a lot of juicy stories to get into in this Friday show here. So sit back, relax. We're going to have some fun today, some weighty topics, but as always, we'll bring hopefully some insight and some humor to all of it as we go through the day. Although I'm not sure we can find much humor in last night's debacle. That was the 5-1 loss to the Pittsburgh Penguins. And I mentioned John Romano's column in the Times today, and I did not know any of these numbers, so I was a little shocked to hear them. The Bolts against the top 10 teams in the league with winning percentage up above 600%. Those top 10 teams that they play against, they've won 7 of 20 games. 7 of 20 games against a good competition. Now you can say, okay, well, Cooch has been hurt most of the year. So since Cooch has come back, they're 1-3 in games against contenders and getting outscored 13-9. So those are not 14-9. Those are not good numbers against the best teams. And then those 20 games they've been outscored 68-53. And now, granted, when the Lightning are behind, Cooper tends to pull the goalies early. I mean, real early. They give up a lot of empty net goals. But the point is, this team's record may be a little bit inflated because they dominate teams that they should beat.
Yes.
Like they're like 27-4-1 against teams they should beat. But this is concerning as you head to the playoffs. My only, and this is something I've been saying for a while now. This team has been playing well, and they have, but beating up on a lot of the weak sisters. They're going to get better. And last night told us they need to get better. They need to get a lot better.
Yeah, it was men's versus boys last night.
It really was.
From the moment the puck dropped, I said this last week when Connor McDavid was in town. It felt like every time he had the puck, he was obviously a threat. Something was going to happen. And I felt the same way about Crosby yesterday. I mean, he was all over the ice. He was flying. I mean, 34 years old, and he's flying around the ice. By far the best player on the ice last night. Every time he had it, I feel like they were in the offensive zone.
Yeah, well, they were in the offensive zone
a lot.
They directed 75 shots at Vasilevsky. The Bolts had 45 shot attempts. Yikes.
Yeah. And I think the Lightning didn't get to 15 shots until midway through the third period.
Yeah.
And they finally got a power play. And I'm like, all right, let's see if we can at least get something back going here. I don't think they even had a shot on goal during that power play. It was a lot of passing and not a lot of shooting.
No, it was an ass whooping in every way. As I think it was Hedman said last night, they imposed their will on us. And they had no answer.
Yeah.
They had no answer. And they really just had no answer last night. And you'll see this from time to time. The ice just gets tilted. But again, I'll say this may sound cliche, but this is exactly what the Lightning need. They need some ass kicking. They have had slow starts for a month now. And they've been able to rebound against the poorer teams like they did against Ottawa. You can't do that against the Pens. And they came out, skating in mud last night. It was awful.
And I told you too. I'm sure you noticed it. That crowd was pretty pro Penguin last night.
Yeah, as the Lightning capitulated last night, so did the fans.
Yeah, they did.
They capitulated on the dollar scoreboard. They all sold their as one of the bartenders up there, the great Chris up in the Chase Club was telling me, because he has all this type of intel. Penguin fans pay more for tickets than almost any group. They will pay dearly for your tickets. So I think a lot of people, like you said, jokingly, a lot of people sold their Pittsburgh tickets to pay for their trip to Nashville.
I think they might have. I think the real thing. I mean, I didn't pay for those tickets.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, there you
Somebody
go.
said I'm not going.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go.
But I mean, it made for a cool atmosphere. I will say, I don't hate when it's a 50-50 split. I kind of feel the hostility in the building.
When it's a game, it's
when it's
good.
a game, but when you're getting your ass kicked,
no good.
I mean, did you hear how loud the Geno chant was when he
loud.
scored?
It was loud.
I mean, I'm gonna admit, I kind of was like, that's kind of cool,
Yeah.
But we were getting our ass kicked, so it didn't feel that great. But yeah, Hedman put it best: imposed will and no answer. And it was every player. I can't give you one bright spot from the Lightning last night.
No, I mean, maybe the school bus line. They did get a goal. They had a couple of, but even Brian Bradley mentioned that to me last night. He goes, this is where we need that third line from last year, where they really give you a spark and give you a couple of 3-4 shifts in a row where they tilt the ice back. Mm-hmm. And now you're on the aggressive. It's just that Lightning could never get moving towards Pittsburgh. They just couldn't get through the neutral zone. They couldn't connect passes. They just had no flow to their game because they looked a step slow. They really did look like they had not played at that level for a while. And it's a different level. When you're playing against Ottawa, you're that it's like a volume level of about a 5 or a 6. When you're playing against Pittsburgh, that volume level's a 10. And if you don't meet that, intensity, you're going to look silly. And they looked silly last night.
Yeah, and that's the hottest team that's been going since about a month after the regular season. And Pittsburgh now, I think 76 points right there with the Lightning. I mean, that's the barometer right now. You got to match that intensity. They did not. We tell it all the time. When a team comes on the road, especially to play the Lightning, you're getting their best and then some.
Yeah.
You are. And you get every player on Pittsburgh yesterday just had their way with them.
Yeah, and you could tell Pittsburgh came in here to make a point. They're the best road team in the league. They came in here, and don't forget the Lightning put it on them up there in Pittsburgh 5-1.
Yes.
Pittsburgh beat us 6-2 on opening night when we raised the banner. You can always say, okay, a little bit of distraction. Okay. But no excuse for last night. No excuse for last night. But again, I think Cooper will use this as a motivating force. And how about Coop getting ejected? That happened right before the second intermission, and I'm going up there to do my gig in the intermission, and we're on the headsets, and everybody's like, "Did he just get ejected?" And I'm like, "Can you even get ejected?" Like, it's the first time he's ever been ejected. I don't think I've ever seen an NHL coach get ejected. He's the
what
first
do you have
in
to say to
2018.
get ejected? I mean, you know what?
I think it begins with F.
Okay.
And I think their mothers are involved as well.
Maybe.
Yeah, something to that.
Maybe. I mean, I told Casey, I said, it's so predictable at this point. It really is predictable. I told her, I said, you see that scrum that just happened? Somehow the Lightning are going to come out of this. It's going to be 5-on-4. It's going to be 5-on-3. And then this place is going to go ape shit.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened. And it does feel like that happens a lot when the Lightning get in these scrums.
Yeah. And we'll hear Cooper say this, is like, I don't know how that team is the least penalized team in the league. It's not, there were plenty of times last night that there could be calls made.
I mean, even remember the Letang and Point fight?
Yeah.
I mean, Letang held on to him for 15 seconds and wouldn't let him get away, and then eventually dropped his glove and said, "Let's go." And he baited him into the fight.
Yeah.
And then I think he slammed him on his head without his helmet on at the end too. Yeah. Which is usually like an unwritten thing in hockey. So
I think he got in a good uppercut at the end. Yeah. I think Point went down. I think he was out for a moment there.
A little bit.
Yeah. Braden won the first part of that fight, but he lost the end of it.
Yeah.
So, man, that was the only good start we had last night, was the start to that fight. But that was really, really bad. It started early. Danton Heinen got the first goal for the Pens. And that first period, we say this a lot, but if not for Vasilevsky, it would have been 6-0 in the first period. He had one series of saves. It looked like it was a 5-on-3. It was one great open shot after another, like 4 or 5 in a row, that he somehow turned away. And then they finally scored. I think that was Crosby's goal.
Yeah.
But this was the first one. And this was just nothing great about this, but just relentless pressure right on Vasilevsky.
Evgeny Malkin points in 15 of the last 16 games. And with authority through center. Here he comes. Goes over to Kapanen. Kapanen back to the front. Pinballs around. Score! And the Penguins strike first in Tampa.
Watch Malkin. Very close to offside, but I don't think it's going to be, guys. The skate, it's the plane. It can be up out of the air. And Heinen comes in with his shovel. Take a look. They get the puck to the net. It goes off Vasilevsky. And that shovel of Heinen, you go to the net, you get rewarded, and he's able to shovel that by the big Russian netminder.
I don't know who's making that call. That's Pittsburgh Radio Network. We appreciate that, but that was a weak goal call.
Very weak.
Not Michigan-esque at all.
No, and when it comes to TV, that's not Randorf either.
No. Score!
He put the shovel. That's a Koleski.
Score! Let's hear the next one. We can do it. We'll just make fun of the announcers since they whooped our ass. How about that?
What else is there to do on a Friday here? Come on.
Let's hear the next one. Score!
To the far side, scooped up by Malkin. The attack continues from Pittsburgh on the power play.
This is a great pass. Gensel.
Now Evgeny Malkin. Malkin, Gensel walks out, goes to Crosby, fires. He scores! Sidney Crosby on the power play. They would not be denied.
Run that back.
2-0 Penguins.
This is not the worst. This is not the worst. Go ahead.
Sent to the far side, scooped up by Malkin. The attack continues from Pittsburgh on the power play. Letang. Now Evgeny Malkin. Malkin, Gensel walks out, goes to Crosby, fires. He scores! Sidney Crosby on the power play. They would not be denied. 2-0 Penguins.
Whatever.
And it is deadly. It really is. They move it around with precision. They're moving bodies around.
Oh, they are.
They take it to the net, and Crosby is able to somehow, some way, get it by Ryan McDonough, who goes down to try to block that shot. Vasilevsky's out of position because the Penguins were passing.
Yeah, they were passing it around. Nobody was near anybody.
Nothing.
I mean, look at that defense. I mean, I know it's a power play, but nobody's near Gensel. Nobody's near the guy at the point. Nobody's near Sidney Crosby. Like, who the hell are they covering? They're not even near anybody.
And now you know why. The Penguins are, I think, top of the league in power play and penalty kill. They're really good at special teams, and Lightning are middle of the road.
Yeah.
It just plays like that.
That's another thing. When you look like last year, you look at the stats across the board. Lightning had, I think at one point last year, they had the best power play and the best penalty kill in the league. They were top 5 all year long. Vasilevsky's numbers were fantastic. All across the board, their numbers were great. Not so this year. A lot of it's middle of the road stuff.
It's middle of the road everywhere. I mean, it goes deeper than just the penalty kill and the power play. I mean, face-offs are another one. The Lightning never win the face-off dot. And this has been going on. Not good. It's been going on for years. Let's admit it. And they've been able to get past it. But it's obvious in games like this where they get their ass kicked. And maybe that's something that I was almost going to mention yesterday. If you want to go get somebody on the trade markets that cheap, get somebody who can win some faceoffs, for crying out loud.
Yeah, that's something that this team desperately needs. It's going to be a wake-up call for the Lightning. There's no question about it. I think Cooper was pissed last night for a lot of different reasons, and the great thing about it is they got Detroit coming in tonight, a team that they could be. But it's interesting. Detroit is a good young team. They're a very fast skating team. If the Lightning come out with a lack of intensity tonight, just thinking, okay, we're going to, score 6 on these guys and, we'll get back in our groove, they're going to lose. They're going to lose because this is a scrappy young team. Yzerman's found some good young fast talent, as you knew he would, and this is a team on the come, and that they want to show that what they can do against this Lightning. They're going to bring their best tonight.
I mean, they did last time. If you remember the game earlier in the season, it up in Detroit, and that was the game. I think the Lightning came back and finally won it, but it was back and forth the entire game.
Yep.
And, remember for years, the Lightning were blowing out Detroit. Hasn't been that way since Stevie Y took over. He's starting to close the gap a little bit. It's a much better hockey team. You certainly can't play like that. You just can't.
No way. And that's good. Hopefully it'll be a wake-up call for these guys because they, especially nobody played well last night. I was going to point out the blue line, but nobody played well last night. Special teams were awful. Everything was bad last night.
I remember one play.
They gave up 2 breakaways.
For the little of time that the play was in the first period by my end, because I was on where the side Lightning shoots white. I told Kate, I said, I couldn't see shit in Nashville. I still can't see shit tonight. I mean, it's down at the other end, the entire game. But there was one moment where Stamkos made a nice play behind the net, and Joseph was coming right through the middle. Pass hit him right in the stick.
He can't finish,
and
he has and Pierre Bellemare, who actually got a goal last night, it was about 2 minutes later, he had a golden opportunity to answer.
No.
And I mean, we had a wide open net. The pass came right across the crease, and he just whiffed. You can't do that against good teams, man. You got to bury these chances. And I think at the deadline, Bradley said it yesterday that they may go after a young, inexpensive scorer or somebody on the come. They don't have a lot of money to spend, and maybe Cal Foot's that guy that they're dangling out there to be the trade bait because you could get something for a good young defenseman. And maybe that's where they go because right now, you don't want to use last night as a panic button.
No, I mean, what yesterday we were talking about it. Even after the national game, we're like, damn, this team is, the Cubs going to go through. Like we were all saying that, right? The Lightning don't lose often, and so you got to be honest with yourself sometimes. And when you play a good team like that, and you read that stat that you read, 7 and 13 against top 10
7,
teams.
8, and 5.
7, 8, and 5.
7, 8, and 5 against the best teams. They've won 7 of 20 games against the 10 teams that are over 600 winning percentage. So the Cup contenders, they're 7, 8, and 5.
Yeah, those are the games that matter. And I can think of a couple off the top of my head. 2 against Pittsburgh now at home.
Mm-hmm.
I can think of the games against the Rangers that haven't been competitive at all.
Florida,
Carolina. Well, guess what? Those are the teams you're seeing right there when it comes to April.
Yep. So, it is definitely a wake-up call. Let's listen in on Coach Coop's press conference, which he certainly had plenty of time to prepare for as he was ejected for the
wrote a script.
I know.
They outplayed us start to finish. And it was really bad at the start. Like, we've had some bad starts, and my memory of a team, one obviously was in Colorado on the road. But this was... That's on us. It's on us as a staff and on the players as well. Like it's unacceptable to come out like we did. But Pittsburgh was exceptional, and give them credit. They came in game. I'm sure they had circled on the calendar, and they imposed their will on us, and we had no answer.
How much did it surprise you? I know you mentioned this morning, you guys remember game 1 of the season and talked about it this morning, kind of how you didn't want to necessarily repeat of that, but
well, it's just disappointing. We're better than that. I'm not sitting here saying Pittsburgh's a better team than us. They're a really good team. We're a really good team. They were especially better than us tonight. So one night, give them credit. It's just disappointing on how we played tonight.
We don't see you get misconducts very often. What was the issue that the explanation that you didn't like the most? I guess what kind of led to the.
Well, it was. I was in shock that we were shorthanded. That team, they don't take, for some reason, they're by far the lowest penalized team in the league. I'm not sure why, but they are. And for us to go down again, to be short out of that situation, it was a little frustrating. But, the number 4 goes over and he goes to their bench and gives them an explanation, whatever he did, never came to ours. So now, I would have liked courtesy there, but I'm not so sure in all the years, like what I said is something like he'd never heard before in his history of reffing. So I want to know what that was. And I've, as a head coach, you have a duty to coach the game and at times you do get a little emotional and stuff like that, but like I said, I don't know what I invented that had to be tossed out. Number 4 saw it that way, I guess.
What's the explanation you got for the extra penalty? Was it because of
I don't know. I got it was an arm pointing to the exit. That was the explanation I got. I guess, asked their coach. He got an explanation. I didn't.
Salty Cooper. I love it. Salty Cooper. Well, yeah, I think he pretty much nailed that.
Yeah, I think he did.
But it's sometimes the way these officials operate is just kind of mind blowing. I mean, how do you come out of that scrum 5-on-3?
I just don't understand it. Corey Perry,
never seen that before.
Corey Perry got 4 minutes for roughing, and I watched the entire scrum. Okay, and I'm thinking, how do you differentiate?
You can't.
That's 4 minutes, but that's 2 minutes. Where's the sense there?
No.
That's where the power play came from, is because Perry got the extra 4,
right?
And then they gave them a bench minor because of Cooper yelling and point yelling and all that kind of stuff. And again, I mean, I watched the entire sequence. I was thinking, I'm like, oh, they're going to go over to Cooper or something. And like he said, no, they didn't. He just eventually said, get out of here.
I've never seen a coach ejected. I can't remember last time I saw a scrum like that a team comes out with a 5-on-3.
You mean to tell me you watched the whole John Tortorella era? You never saw a coach get ejected?
I'm trying to remember if he ever got ejected. I don't think he did. I don't remember.
I'm sure it's somewhere in the archives.
Yeah. I just seriously, like, we were all on the headsets going, is it game misconduct? Like,
yeah, I didn't know he got ejected either. I went to the bathroom and I looked at my phone and I'm like,
you did not
oh,
listen to my explanation on the
yeah, I went to the bathroom, man. I went to the bathroom.
Other than my great line last night.
You did have a great line.
If butt sniffing was a penalty, we'd have no puppy races. I didn't think I'd ever say butt sniffing on the Jumbotron, but I worked it in. I worked it in. I'd like a late night skit. All right, we got any of the players? Mea culpas?
Yeah, we queue up Pat here in a sec.
We got Patty Maroon. I'm sure we'll put things in great perspective. Yeah, but tonight again, but we'll probably see Brian Elliott tonight. I don't know. Vassie might be so pissed he might tell him I'm playing tonight.
The plan was for Elliott to play.
Yeah,
but,
they might change.
See.
They've got 31 games in 60 days. He can't be playing back to back. So I'm not doing that. That's why you have a backup goalie.
Yeah, it is surprising actually. I think our last few games, the start has been not the way we wanted to. Even the outdoor game, I don't think we had a good start, and just too many times that we've been shooting ourselves in the foot with our starts, and it's hard to play from behind in this league, especially a good team like Pittsburgh. They come with a lot of pace. They kind of play like us, shot mentality, scramble game. D down. Back to the net, second, third opportunity. So they, they gave it to us tonight.
they're a team that attacks with speed all over the ice when they have the puck, even when they don't have the puck. How much of an adjustment is that to kind of get used to that kind of speed coming at you?
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of speed too. I just think, we're above more. When in the D zone, when we were trying to break out, they were above. They were right on top of us. They were surrounding us, and I feel like we didn't do it to them, and just kind of hurt us.
Very passive.
Like I said, they're a good team, but if you look back at that game, we turned the puck over a lot. So we Bassy had to make a couple of huge saves on our breakaway. Unfortunately, you can't make them all, right? And when you give a team like that, Malkin, Crosby, guys like that with breakaways, eventually they're going to capitalize and score goals. So, we're a team that obviously we have high power offense, but when we're playing predictable hockey and we're playing the right way, we're untouchable. So, they're a good team over there. And, they did what we do to a lot of teams this year. They did that to us tonight.
And we don't see Jon Cooper show a lot of emotion on the bench. He's usually pretty calm no matter how the game is going. To see him kind of get that and end up getting an ejection.
Yeah, he's frustrated. Obviously, it's hard as a coach to kind of lay back sometimes, and I think he felt that we shouldn't have got the extra one there, and we did, and he said what he had to say. It's sometimes it's good to have coach show a little emotion and stand up for his players.
You were talking with the ref after the period. What explanation did you get from the?
I think it was just a miscommunication of what was going on, why Cirelli was serving the penalty. And the people in the box were telling me shouldn't have served it. We thought Perry's just got a 4 and someone just had to serve the extra one. So obviously a lot of miscommunication there.
Pat, was it more of what Pittsburgh did or was it more of what you didn't do tonight?
Yeah, did you watch the game? So we probably gave them a lot of offense, right? Turn the puck over. So, it's, they played a good game, though. You got to tip your cap. They played hard. They played fast, and it wasn't fast, but they played predictable hockey. And when you play predictable hockey, your offense is going to eventually break through. It's going to open up, and you're going to get rewarded. Teams are going to eventually take penalties because you've been in your offensive zone the whole game, and that's kind of what happened. When you go down 2-0 early in a game, it's tough to climb back to, especially a team like that. But, those are two really, really good teams going at it. And like I tell people now, this is a fun time to play. You're playing pretty much playoff hockey from the next 2 months here and all the way till, July. So this is the fun times right now. Everyone's going to have their A game. Everyone's trying to have a playoff, try to make the playoffs. No one's in right now. So these are the times where you got to be man. And unfortunately, you gotta be aggressive. You gotta find ways to play that hard-nosed hockey in guys' faces, be hard at our blue line, hard at, the offense's blue line, and play the right way. And, they did that.
And you guys are 1-6 now in the front half of back-to-backs. You'd think it'd be kind of reverse in that situation. Any sort of thing?
What was that? I didn't hear you.
You're 1-6 in the front half of back-to-back games where you're so good at the second half of back-to-back. Usually it'd be flipped. Any sort of weird thing for experience?
So we're 1-6
in the front half of back-to-back games.
Oh, wow. You think that'd be switched? Yeah, I don't know. You analytics guys, I don't believe in them. So fortunately, I don't think I'm on the analytics sheet a lot. So
it took him a little while to grasp the concept there. Did he
said, "You analytics guys."
He gave it the double E's on that one. It's not really analytics. It's just kind of just fact. You gotta love Patty Maroon. Even in a loss like that, he'll give us a nice laugh, a nice chuckle. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, Anthony Becht's going to join us live from Indianapolis. Warm and toasty Indianapolis, as Dan Lucas told us yesterday. He's working with the tight ends up there, and there's some good ones. The Bucs are definitely in need of one, so we'll talk to Anthony Becht next. Hey, folks, let me tell you about Bay Area Modern Medical Center, a very different kind of approach to primary care. Personalized preventative medicine, not a one-pill-fits-all mentality. Christopher Lugo and his experienced medical staff are proactive in looking at issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle. Rather than the impersonal, rushed approach, you will be the only patient and will have our full attention. That's new. Getting old is inevitable, but feeling and looking old is avoidable. Bay Area Modern Medical Centers are experts in anti-aging regenerative medicine that optimizes your body's performance in many areas. So call for an appointment to get started on a journey back to full health and a happy life with a new, modern way of healthcare. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com. JP here for my friend, attorney Christopher Palermo. If you are having issues with a claim on your homeowner's insurance from a sinkhole, storm damage, water intrusion, defective stucco, and construction defects, or any other issue, Christopher is your man. These big insurance companies didn't get rich paying out what you deserve. Chris founded his practice in 2009 with a passion to help all Floridians with disputes where they were forced to take on the powerful and needed a champion in their corner. Chris wants to make sure you will receive the most aggressive and compassionate representations. He has recovered millions in some. Rates go through the roof. Call my man Scott Fitzgerald at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Scott believes interest rates will be over 5 very soon due to the volatile economy and inflation, but you can still lock in the mid-3s, but not for long. This means you can save tens of thousands of dollars over the life of your loan. Now, Scott is an independent broker, so he can shop your mortgage around for the best rates, and he will pay for your appraisal if you mention you heard it here on the JP Show. That's a $500 to $700 value. Scott does not charge the huge upfront fees like the big banks do. In this uncertain economy and political climate, better to have cash in hand now. So call Scott at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com.
Coming back at you.
Now, more with JP on FanStream Sports. It's only just begun.
All righty, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the offices of Christopher Palermo. Let's fly up to Indianapolis, check in at the NFL Combine with the great Anthony Becht, who's been working with a rather large group of tight ends, both by numbers and stature, evidently. What's up, Anthony? How are you, sir?
Doing well, man. How's it going?
Fantastic. I hear you got a good group of tight ends up there that you're working, a big group, a fast group, and the Bucs are certainly very much interested in finding a tight end. Who kind of caught your eye up there?
Yeah, I actually just got back this morning. I've been out there last Friday, and it was great to get to know these guys. 21 tight ends out there. I thought that they they all looked really good, very mature group of kids. The one thing, obviously, I did notice is it's just a taller group this year. Not all, but most, or at least, 6'5", 6'6", 6'7", even. But some of the guys that caught my eye, Jelani Woods, obviously, he's had a nice year at Virginia this year. He's a transfer from Oklahoma State. Left that offense to go to Virginia to catch some more balls, and he did that. I think he had 40-plus catches. He's like 6'7", 255 pounds. Guy's long now. He's 24 reps on the bench. He's the longest wingspan of anybody on the tight end roster, and impressive for him to see him do that. He was on the field workouts, were good. Guy that can get up, catch the ball high, really nice flex and bend in his waist for a long guy. I guess the one little thing that maybe stuck out for me that, he has to continue to work on, which isn't a terrible thing because it can be ticked as the top of his route. When he gets going as a big man, and he hits the seam routes or the corner routes, he's all good. Everything's flowing, but he's got to start sinking down and chopping. That's kind of a little slower, but that's something he can fix when he gets coached up. Charlie Kolar is a guy that, I'm obviously a fan of. My son being at Iowa State got to watch, but really both of those tight ends, him and Chase Allen, they're both coming out this year. But Charlie's got an innate ability to catch the ball, pluck it out of the air, man. He's super smooth. He finds the holes in space. The guy is super smart. I mean, you just got to watch how you talk to him, because he's just like advanced in all levels of life in general, outside of just football. But, a guy that just really long arms. He's not the most physical at the line of scrimmage. I think, he's adequate, but a guy like him can really bring some nice protection, security blanket for a quarterback that needs a guy like that. And, a little different type of guy that, maybe from a size standpoint, blocker, a little bit of everything. Jake Ferguson out of Wisconsin, a little more of a hard-nosed guy, runs well, blocks well, does everything good for you, be a guy that can come in and help. So not really any first-round talent.
Right.
I think everybody knows Trey McBride, the Colorado State kid. He's kind of the most complete, but he's not the tallest kid, but he's just got that, he's that it factor, and he does everything like overachiever style as far as all the things you want from a tight end. So he's a guy that obviously is a lot of teams are excited about as well.
You think any of those guys are a good fit for the Bucs offense and maybe where they'll be drafting? I don't think they'll use their first round pick on it, but maybe a second, third, fourth. I don't know. And I think we all kind of feel like if Brady comes back, then Gronk probably would too. But at this point, you gotta move forward, right, and find a tight end.
Yeah, I was, being on the field with some of the tight end coaches. John Van Dam, the new tight end coach, was there. I got to talk to him. Obviously, he's new as far as taking over the position. He's been with the team for a while, and obviously some uncertainty with the room, with it, like you said. I don't know. I mean, the kid Jeremy Ruckert from Ohio State's a nice looking kid, a guy that can block and catch. Is started out as a receiver, but really a guy that showed up big time for Ohio State with all those receivers that they had, and it was big down the seams and did some things there, and is physical at the point of attack. There's a kid from Coastal Carolina, Isaiah Likely. He didn't run a 4, but he is fast, and a lot of teams like him. They'd be smooth. Kid from UCLA is not a bad looking player either. Greg Dulcich. He's a guy that some people have him as high as the third best tight end on their board coming out. He's from UCLA. Good looking kid, 250. Runs as fast in his routes as he does 40 time. That kind of something that caught my eye.
Yeah.
A lot of these guys that have good speed, it's sometimes if they're not good route runners, it shows up that they just don't run the top end speed when they're doing that. So Ohio State kids of interest. Virginia, again, he's a flyer. I mean, I think he's the riser, and he's the guy that had a great all-star game. He was really the guy that looked the best at the combine, but again, he's such a long, tall guy. I mean, it just depends what they want. Red zone, maybe unstoppable, or a guy his size. Intermediate routes and things of that nature, that'll be something we'll have to dig a little deeper on. But there's definitely some guys in that area in those mid-rounds that I think a lot of these guys will be available.
Anthony Becht joining us here. Just got back for the combine, working with the tight ends. There's a really impressive group of free agent tight ends out there as well. I mean, there's some big names: Mike Gesicki, Dalton Schultz, Gronk, obviously, David Njoku, former first-round pick. Zach Ertz is out there as a free agent. Gerald Everett, another one, played for the Rams. Evan Ingram, who's kind of been, I don't know, you might consider him a little bit of a bust, but he's got great talent, been injured. Max Williams is out there. CJ Uzomah. There's a lot of good guys out there on the free agent market. I mean, obviously, if Gronk doesn't come back, I think the Bucs have to be, that has to be a pretty high priority for him right now, does it not?
Yeah, I'd say. I mean, it's important to have a good tight end. I mean, Cameron Brate's back under contract, but again, he's not the same Cam Brady was when he first came in, but he's still effective. Dalton Schultz to me is the cream of the crop of that list. I would say he's going to be fairly expensive, and I can't imagine that they're going to invest those kind of dollars in a guy like him.
True. Yeah.
When you start looking at the next level, listen, Ozoma is a guy that, if he's healthy and everything's good, I mean, he was pretty effective, pretty stout at the point of attack. They're kind of, Gronk did everything for him and obviously an effective pass catcher, but, they ask, it's quite a bit out of him from the block thing. So that tight end is something they're looking for. But when you're talking about the guy that separates himself, to me, it's the Schultz kid. So, we'll see. I mean, he's going to be highly desired. There's several teams that need tight ends, and I just don't know if he fits the bracket they're looking for. So, yeah, they may draft and get one, maybe a middle tier veteran guy in between, but, you just don't want to get older. You have a guy that kind of fits that mold. Can you find a guy that kind of fits that middle piece? Like CJ would be good. So it just depends what they're looking for.
Anthony Becht joining us here. Okay, by law, I have to ask you about Tom Brady. What's the, it's been a lot of smoke, bro. A lot of smoke out there. I personally do not think he's retired. And so I think it kind of feels like there's going to be a showdown here. I know what Bruce said, and a lot of people said it's all rainbows and lollipops with Brady, but all the other smoke around there and all these NFL reporters, I heard it at the Super Bowl. Lots of people talking about that there was something that went on that Brady doesn't want to come back to Tampa. I don't know what that is specifically. Do you know, and do you think it's true? What's your take on what's going on with Brady right now?
Yeah, I had some talks with some people in the know, just, without naming names. A lot of that stuff that was out there is kind of BS. Listen, I didn't think Tom was going to retire. I felt like the way it happened and it was leaked and all that stuff, kind of, it almost feel like for me, I was him. I'd be like, you know what, man? Yeah, I may have wanted to stop, but man, I'm kind of pissed off at that. That's the way it kind of went out like that. But I just feel like it wasn't as grand as maybe everybody thought it would be. But as of right now, he's out. So, the Bucs got to figure out what's going on. I mean, free agency and all this stuff's coming up, the draft. I mean, unless he's making this decision like now, like the Bucs have to figure out a way to keep the fans in the seats. So they're gonna have a date here coming up that they're gonna have to figure out what they want to do. Now, do they just like let's hold off and see and roll with the guys in the room right now? That's risky proposition if they can get another guy. I just don't know who that would be. But as of now, Brady's out. So we can talk about and speculate all we want until he decides to come back and the Bucs have his rights. Then it's a go. But other than that, I mean, I think they have as much information as anybody else, which is nothing.
Yeah. Well, what we do here, we have to speculate. So it seems
I mean, you're right. But I mean, sometimes it's as easy as it's just speculation.
Yeah, it's all it is. So. It's all it is. And I kind of see it coming down to the fact that it seems like Brady is kind of trying to wait out the Bucs and wait till they have to make a move and go get somebody. And then obviously he becomes more available. Whereas, and you could see the Bucs publicly digging in and saying, oh, no, that's bad business. We're not trading his rights unless you want to bring us 5 number ones. So, and then of course there's Arians talking up Blaine Gabbert and Kyle Trask. So it seems to me that's their play. They've come to the realization that Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, any of these other guys, either they're not as good as what they have, or they can't afford them. They can't get them. So they're going to say, okay, we're going to leave the light on. And I think it's going to be a big game of chicken here. So, well, do you think that's a reasonable expectation? And is that a good way to play it if you're the Bucs at this point? I think it is. I think it's their only option, really, because, again, the price for Rodgers and Russell Wilson is just exorbitant.
Yeah, Russell and Rodgers is not happening. So anybody that wants to kind of get that pipe dream going, that there's no way that's going to be an option. I just can't see it. But, the only realistic, well, I don't even know if they're realistic, but I think Jimmy G could be an option, and I don't know what they think there. And obviously, Deshaun Watson thing is intriguing, but man, it's he's got to clean up the baggage because it's a lot of you got to sign off on it. But listen, now it goes back to this. The Bucs filled the stands; they're winning games. I promise you, ownership wants to continue to do that. So I feel like they'll be overly aggressive and they'll be willing to turn a cheek or two if they have to on certain situations if they can get enough clarity on it. So I think those now may be the only things on the table until Brady, makes or says anything or does anything more, which I think is nothing there right now.
Anthony Becht joining us here. Offensive line obviously took a huge hit with Ali Marpet's retirement. First question, as a former player, do you think we're going to start seeing more of this? I talked to Rondé the other day, and he kind of agreed with me that we are, because there's so much information out there, the new information about CTE now. We talked to a doctor at the Super Bowl, and there's, that's actually, they've studied Vincent Jackson's brain and saw where the CTE was quite advanced. And more players are getting this information. I don't know if that's why Ali did what he did. He hasn't said so, but I think a lot of these players, especially those that are maybe a little bit, I don't know how to say this in a politically correct way, or have something much more after football going for them, are going to make this choice. What do you think?
Well, one thing, I mean, clearly Ali's been, had this decision made. I've seen a couple Instagram pictures. He looks like he's trimming down pretty quickly.
Yeah.
As he's traveling. Look, every player is going to have some form of CTE. So that's, we all know that. It's just, it affects everybody differently.
Yeah.
But one thing, Ali Marpet, as tough as they come. I mean, he's a guy that can play through injury and do that. But listen, I'm sure it was part of this mindset was, I missed 3 games because of a concussion. Like, a guy that wants to be on the field and doesn't miss games. I'm sure that just maybe scared him a little bit. And, you start opening up your checking and savings account and you say, you know what, man, I'm not spending a lot of money. I got a crap load of money. I got a million things I want to do.
On this
stuff.
Yeah.
He doesn't have any kids. I'm sure. Yeah, I think players.
Yeah,
it's a big. You can get that second contract and get it all in and have it in hand and not owe anybody back before we'll get 10 years in. Then the money's bigger. I'm telling you, I think it is going to happen to more guys. And he loves football. I'm sure he would love to suit it up and play next year. But I think just bigger picture, some guys when they have some injuries similar to concussions, especially the ones that keep you out for a long period of time, it just, you think about things differently. And I think that was a big discussion. It's fine. I don't think it has any residual issues. I'm just guessing.
Yeah.
But I just feel like anybody that multiple games and is in a situation like him where he has money saved and he's good to go and life looks good, I think it's a serious option. I think more players will look at that. And
what did the Bucs do now offensively? Do they? And I think this makes Kappa's contract more important. Aaron Stinney as well. I think you really got to try to get them back. And did they just elevate Hainsey to the center position, or they go try and find a veteran at that very important position?
Yeah, I had lunch with Joe Gilbert, and he's just an old friend of mine, and they like their guys. I know that. Hainsey's a guy they like. I mean, I'm sure that's a strong possibility for them. Kappa's going to demand. Listen, Kappa's improved. I mean, he's going to be a high demand product out there. It's not going to just be the Bucs, but I promise you that if they make a good offer to him and being in Tampa, it's going to make a lot of sense for him. But you're right. There's some availability there, obviously, with some extra money, and they can also go out and draft a guard. I mean, there's really good linemen in this draft, and where they're drafting. Listen, you want a weapon potentially, but I mean, they have options to even move up, use that pick and move up, and try to get a guy they really like. They plug and play. So they have options. They have guys in-house. They like their guys. They like the way that their young guys are developing, not playing as much.
Mm-hmm.
And they feel like that, those guys may get that first opportunity. But, to see how the draft, everything falls through. If there's a guy they love on their board and they say, you know what, it's worth moving up or doing this or that, or taking this guy here at 27 or whatnot, then I'm sure they're going to do that. So a lot of options for them, but I know they feel good about what they have in-house for sure.
Interesting. Good stuff. All right, my friend, thank you so much for your time. Tell us what's going on with you content-wise, and know in a couple months you'll probably have your camp as well coming up this summer.
Yeah, so we'll have our camp up north in Philly end of June. We are still debating the Tampa camp right now, trying to figure out dates, locations, or we're going to continue to have one. So it's all been a great successful one. It's just this time of year may get a little busy for me. Everybody can follow me on Anthony_Becht. There may be some news coming out, so keep your eyes and ears open and see what the the next thing may be. But, working on some things. And you know me, man, I'm always
I know you are.
some irons in the fire. Maybe there's something coming up for me a little different than maybe people would expect.
Oh, wow. Can't wait to hear. Text me soon. All right,
All
partner.
right, brother.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. The great Anthony Becht right there. Big things coming. Always from my man. All right, we will take a quick break. And when we come back, we'll talk a little bit more about the comments of Donovan Smith. Donovan Smith is very, very bullish on his Buccaneer team. Extremely bullish. So they're going to be a great team. He must have some insight for us. So we'll talk a little bit about that when we come back. The PGA Tour's Valspar Championship is back in March in 2022, March 14th through the 20th, right in the middle of the best weather of the year and the last stop on the Florida swing. The Valspar has become one of the must-do events on the Tampa Bay sports and social calendar, so get your best tickets before they sell out. The game's biggest stars love the Copperhead course in Innisbrook. Last year, we saw Dustin Johnson, Justin Thomas, Jordan Spieth wow the crowds, and another star-studded field is expected again this year. Sam Burns took the title and will defend again at the Copperhead. This will be a full tournament with the return of Valspar Live, our free Saturday concert featuring Chris Young and Big and Rich, and other amenities including Chameleon Cove, the Hooters Owl's Nest, the Publix Chill Lounge, and other hospitality venues. Go to ValsparChampionship.com for tickets. The best premium hospitality areas will sell out, so don't wait. That's ValsparChampionship.com.
Are you selling your home or refinancing? JP here for Greenleaf Title. You choose the title company, not the realtor, and it makes a difference. You want a reputable company that will make sure your title is safe and secure. There are a lot of scammers out there right now, so go with a trusted company like Greenleaf Title. Plus, they will close anywhere, folks, and they will send a limo to pick you up to come to the closing. Yep, the great JP Limo Closing is back. All you got to do is give them a call at 727-258-6005 or go to greenleaftitle.com. We'll set up the limo for you. They'll come pick you up. Heck, we even picked up one couple, took them to Black Rock Restaurant, one of our favorite advertisers, and then to the closing. That's how they do it at Greenleaf Title. Great service. We'll close anywhere. The lowest fees in the business. 727-258-6005 or go to greenleaftitle.com. That's greenleaftitle.com.
Getting old is inevitable, but feeling and looking old is avoidable. If you're feeling run down, your workout sucks, or your sexual libido is not what it used to be, check out Bay Area Modern Medical Center. That happened to me a few years ago, and I found out I had the testosterone level of a second-grade girl. That's not good. Our food, environment, and stress can cause your T levels to drop. Bay Area Modern Medical Center can help, and they are different. They offer customized hormone replacement for both men and women. Christopher Lugo and his medical staff can help you restore your energy, your sex drive, and your feelings of well-being. It was a total game changer for me. I have way more energy, lost 30 pounds, and I'm performing better in all areas of my life. Nobody wants to talk about sexual health, but it's key to a balanced life. We offer discreet treatments with real-world results. So if you're suffering from a lack of interest in sex, ED, or lack of sexual stamina, Dr. Lugo and his staff can help. Take your health care to the next level at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com. Homeowners, listen up. Property values have risen in the Tampa Bay area to record levels, some up to 24% in 1 year. It's time to refinance your home and pull out the equity before rates go through the roof. Call my man Scott Fitzgerald at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Scott believes interest rates will be over 5 very soon due to the volatile economy and inflation, but you can still lock in the mid-3s, but not for long. This means you can save tens of thousands of dollars over the life of your loan. Now, Scott is an independent broker, so he can shop your mortgage around for the best rates, and he will pay for your appraisal if you mention you heard it here on the JP Show. That's a $500 to $700 value. Scott does not charge the huge upfront fees like the big banks do. In this uncertain economy and political climate, better to have cash in hand now. So call Scott at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Hey, folks, let me tell you about Bay Area Modern Medical Center, a very different kind of approach to primary care. Personalized preventative medicine, not a one-pill-fits-all mentality. Christopher Lugo and his experienced medical staff are proactive in looking at issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle. Rather than the impersonal, rushed approach, you will be the only patient and will have our full attention. That's new. Getting old is inevitable, but feeling and looking old is avoidable. Bay Area medical centers are experts in anti-aging regenerative medicine that optimizes your body's performance in many areas. So call for an appointment to get started on a journey back to full health and a happy life with a new, modern way of healthcare. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com. JP here for my friend, attorney Christopher Palermo. If you are having issues with a claim on your homeowner's insurance from a sinkhole, storm damage, water intrusion, defective stucco, and construction defects, or any other issue, Christopher is your man. These big insurance companies didn't get rich paying out what you deserve. Chris founded his practice in 2009 with a passion to help all Floridians with disputes where they were forced to take on the powerful and needed a champion in their corner. Chris wants to make sure you will receive the most aggressive and compassionate representations. He has recovered millions in settlements on behalf of his clients facing defective stucco damage and other construction issues. So call Chris, mention the JP Show, and he will give you a free consultation. That's 813-221-5636, or go to PalermoPA.com. He's a fifth-generation Tampanian, graduate of Jesuit High School and the University of Florida, and he cares deeply about you and the community. That's 221-5636 or PalermoPA.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's rock. This is FanStream Sports with JP.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, presented by the law offices of Christopher Palermo. If you have any issues with your homeowner's insurance company or your builder or cut corners because of supply chain issues and you're not very happy with what went on, well, you have recourse. You have legal recourse. And Christopher Palermo is an expert in the field. He has recovered millions for his clients. So if you have some issues with your home where you had cracks in your stucco, and by the way, check that out because you may have some water damage underneath the cracks in that stucco that you can't really see. And that could lead to some really, really big issues. It could lead to mold in your home, and that's expensive to get rid of. So call Christopher Palermo. Go to PalermoPA.com. Get all the contact information there. You can email him or call him at PalermoPA.com. Tell him JP sent you. Give you a free consultation, and he'll let you know if you got a case or not. So don't just take it from the homeowner's insurance company what they're going to give you for any storm damage or water damage or anything like that, because they will, they'll try to lowball you. You don't have to take it. Call Chris Palermo, PalermoPA.com. So Donovan Smith was out at the Bucks flag football tournament that they sponsor each and every year, and it is a massive one, by the way, the biggest in the country. I think they said 1,500 teams. Like, wow. Or maybe that's 1,500 players. Not sure. 1,500 high school athletes representing 70 teams out at USF. They also, I think when they get down to the finals and stuff, they bring them over to One Buck Place and they get to play in the indoor place and space. It's really cool. Tristan Wirfs and Donovan Smith were out there yesterday, our two bookend tackles. What was interesting, Joey Knight was out there for the Times, and he got a couple quotes from Donovan. He was asked about Marpet's retirement, and he said, I don't know what's the worry in all of that. We're going to be great. It's going to be a great year next year. Okay. Went on to say about Marpet's retirement. To be completely honest, Allie gave me the courtesy of texting me before he told you guys. It's obviously a big blow when you lose a great player like that. Allie, he's the standard to what a pro is, how he prepared himself day in and day out, how he carried himself on and off the field, the things he's done in the community. It's definitely a big void that's going to be missed and that we're going to have to fill in many places. There's a saying in college, like, it's next man up, said Tristan Wirfs. But I think Allie's going to ride off into the sunset. He had a great career, capped it off with a Pro Bowl. He got recognition he deserves. So I think whoever's up next is going to have to be ready to go. It's going to be some big shoes to fill, but they're going to be ready. So those two guys feel like the Bucs are in good position. Smith said There's no panic. I don't know what locker room they're looking at, the fans who are panicking and the broadcasters like myself. But we have a great locker room from top to bottom. We have a bunch of young guys in position to come in and fill, kind of like what Anthony Becht just said on the offensive line. And for the past 2 or 3 years, we've set the standard and know what it takes. So it's just up to the older guys just implementing that and holding everybody accountable. So is this false optimism, or is this a guy that's really knows what they have behind him in Robert Hainsey and Stinney and some of these other cats?
Listen, I have no doubts that the Buccaneers locker room, as he said, and culture will and should be better off.
Yep.
Even without Tom Brady and potentially Gronk and some of these guys.
Mm-hmm.
I have no doubts. But you're smoking a pack of something pretty good if you think this offensive line is not taking a drop off this year. You really are. I mean, in all respects to Robert Hainsey and respect even if they bring Stinney back and whoever they want to put there, Nick Leverett, who got bulldozered by DeForest Buckner.
Definitely not the answer.
Definitely not the answer. And like I said, I think yesterday or the other day, I don't think Donnie Smith playing as good as he did last year is a sure thing. That's just me because I had 7 years of inconsistency leading up to it.
Yeah.
So I subscribe to the theory, worst year, best year, everything in the middle is what you are.
Yeah.
And for me, that means that Donovan Smith is an above average at best left tackle.
Yeah.
No disrespect. That's just what his film shows. So you have to understand the Bucs are going to be worse, most likely at quarterback. They might be worse off at running back.
I mean, it could be drastically worse at quarterback.
Receiver, let's see what happens. But even without Godwin there, you're going to be worse there to start the season.
Yep.
And tight end and offensive line. I mean, you have to understand that. The offense, you think it's just going to keep on clicking? It's not going to happen.
No.
You just got to be realistic about it.
Well, the bottom line is we don't know, who's going to be there next, who the next man up is. And, look, if Beck says that these coaches are not going to say, oh, the guys we have suck. But,
of course.
but they'll, I think Anthony can separate the bullshit that if these coaches are serious about Hainsey, I think Hainsey can play. I mean, we haven't seen a whole lot, but it sounds like they're pretty high on the guy. What the little that we have seen has been okay. I mean, not like Nick Leverett bad, right? So, I don't have a whole lot of confidence in who's the guy they brought in at right tackle. 74.
Josh Wells.
Yeah, he's just a guy.
Meh.
Just a guy. So Jason Light has a shit ton of work to do. And we've kind of dismissed the OJ Howard thing, like, okay, he's definitely not coming back. Well, what's the market for him? And are we going to be able to find something better out there than OJ Howard? I mean, I'm not sitting here banging the drum to bring him back, but are we going to sign Dalton Schultz at $11 million a year? Are we going to sign Evan Ingram, who can't block anybody? Who are you going to sign?
It's got to have somebody that you can block, because if Brady's going to be here and he's not going to be a cap casualty, if he makes it through that once again, I mean, he's not going to be a cap casualty this year.
No, we
got to have him. But Cameron Brate's not the same player he was. I mean, let's accept that too.
And he's not a blocker.
He can't block.
Yeah,
and truly, as a catcher, he's not the same either. But that's his trait, if you want to call it.
Yeah.
OJ Howard, man. I mean, he's given so many chances. He's had so many chances to prove himself. He couldn't get on the field this past year.
Yeah, I mean, if Brady's not going to throw you the ball, there's something wrong.
No, I mean, he contributed directly to, I think, 2 of Brady's interceptions from his just not knowing what's going on out there.
There's better guys out there.
Yeah, and 4 years in, 5 years in now, I know who you are. Yeah. I know who you are. And I think it's just bad for him to come back here. He like I felt with Jameis, who had to get away. OJ's got to get away.
Yeah.
He does.
And maybe he'll be better somewhere else. But I doubt it.
But you mentioned all those like free agent tight ends. I mean, damn. I mean,
there's a lot of good ones out there.
A lot of good ones. And I mean, we'll have to see what happens if the Bucs think they can compete again. But I think Zach Ertz, he might be my favorite option there if you're trying to compete, because he showed he still has some left in the tank.
Yep.
In Arizona last year.
Oft injured though.
He was oft injured, but I think 31 going on 32, you might be able to get him on a 1-year deal, 2-year deal, cheaper.
And Gronk is still working out at the facility.
So maybe he's still in play. Who knows?
Who knows? Amari Cooper, by the way, has been released as expected by the Cowboys.
Well, likely to be released, but
likely.
it's from Schefter, so that probably is going to happen. He's owed $20 million this year, so
he's not a $20 million guy anymore. But that puts him out on the open market. There's going to be a lot of good receivers out on the open market.
Devontae Adams, Chris Godwin, and Amari Cooper.
I mean,
and
right
Mike
off the
Williams,
top.
right?
But Devontae's not going anywhere, and neither is Cooper. Godwin. Worst case, he gets franchised again.
Yeah.
Carlton Davis is an interesting thing. We talked with Scott Reynolds at Pewter Report, and he feels like he's the guy that's going to get franchised because, when Light talked about him and when Arians talked about him, they all use that qualifier when healthy. When healthy, he's a baller.
Yeah.
And he is. But again, he's been oft injured.
Yeah, and I you listen to some of the older cornerbacks talk about this. They say, you could be a lockdown corner all you want, but do you take the ball away?
Right.
He does not take the ball away.
He does not.
I think 5 or 6 career interceptions. I think for him.
I think he's credited with 5 dropped interceptions this year.
He has more drops. I think than completed
he dropped
interceptions.
one. I believe he dropped one from Stafford. Did he not? Yeah,
he did. He did right there in the end zone. It would have changed the game.
Yeah.
So he's a great corner and he can lock some guys up, but you got to take the ball away in this league if you want to be a true shutdown number one.
Yeah, and that's a problem. The biggest problem with our 3 corners is none of them can catch
the ball. I mean, Jamel Dean, I don't know what he looks like. He's never ever had any he's never caught anything from the jugs machine or anything.
Yeah, it's bad.
He looks lost out there.
And SMB, he's had trouble since the playoffs 2 years ago. He's had issues.
Yeah.
There's a lot. That's why they play defensive back.
Yeah, and that's why when you go position by position, the Bucs have lots of questions at every position right now.
Yeah, once you take Brady off this roster, it gets pretty average
because he can mask everything.
Yeah, and JPP is not the player that he once was, and he was a big part of that Super Bowl run. I think Vita Vea is obviously in his prime. Ndamukong Suh is not the play. He played pretty damn well last year, but I don't know if is he even going to want to come back? And do you pay him another $8-9 million?
No,
you start developing another player.
Hell no. I think the Bucs have got to get somebody next to Vita Vea, and Jason said this. They got to get somebody next to Vita who can rush the passer and has speed to go with it. Because Vita can get there sometimes, but it's not going to happen all the time.
Yeah.
And if the Bucs are hell bent on playing him 30, 40 snaps a game, I mean that's ridiculous to begin with. But I mean, I even heard Warren Sapp. I think he did something with Joe Bucks fan about a few weeks ago, and he didn't think that the Bucks defense was all it's marked up to be because they get no interior pass rush whatsoever.
Well, that's not true. When Sue and Vea are in there, they get plenty of interior pass rush.
I don't think they get enough though.
What film was he watching?
I don't think they get enough though. I really don't. I think you got to find somebody else.
Top 5 in the league in sacks.
And a lot of that's coming from the outside.
Well, that's because there's a push up the middle.
I don't think they get enough there. I think that is a real thing. They got to get somebody next to Vita who's
I know
faster.
you're new to the show, but we're not big Warren Sapp fans here.
I know you're not a big Warren Sapp fan, but he's
wrong. First of all,
credible source.
He's wrong. Just because you played the game doesn't mean you're right all the time. Trust me on that.
Some authority there.
Well, of course he knows more about but I can also turn on the tape and see there's interior pressure there. What is he talking about?
He said it, not me.
Oh, well, let's go drag. Maybe we should go to PFF or I don't need to. I look at the tape. He's running centers on roller skates back into the quarterback's lap.
But you're acting
turn on the tape.
You're acting like it happens every play. It doesn't.
Who does every play besides Warren Sapp when he was
Aaron
playing?
Donald.
Yeah, Aaron Donald. Yeah, but when he's one-on-one, you leave him one-on-one.
I'm just saying.
Every time Vita Vea is one-on-one, he's pushing the guy back into the quarterback's lap.
But Vita Vea is not
just because Warren Sapp says it doesn't mean it's true.
How many sacks does Vita Vea get a season? What, 5, 4?
Not a lot.
How many did Warren Sapp get?
How many does the team get?
10 to 16.
How many does the team get? I'm not saying we have a Warren Sapp. I'm never taking away anything from Warren Sapp as a player. He's a Hall of Famer. He's top 5 greatest defensive tackle to play the game probably. And when he says we get no interior pressure, that's not true. This team's one of the best sacking teams in the league over the last 3 years. Go look at the numbers.
I just think
just because interior and what does it matter if you get interior pressure, exterior? As long as you're getting pressure, that's all that matters. However you want to work it, if you're getting interior pressure and you're pushing the outside guys and pushing the quarterback to the outside guys, fine. or vice versa.
I just don't think that's Sue. Like, there's no point in bringing him back for $8 or $9 million at 34. I just don't.
He played at a very high level.
But 34 years old, JP, and they have so many other guys. He's just not even close to my list of priority.
Here's the problem: who are you going to get to replace him?
It's tough to answer because this is also not a great defensive tackle class.
Yeah.
And they're saying that's the weakest part of this entire field. But I mean, there's the two kids from Georgia, Devontae Wyatt and Jordan Davis.
But those are Vita Vea types.
Well, Davis might be, but I think Wyatt's more of a speed guy.
Yeah, true. They're looking for more of an athletic speed type guy to be in there in the middle.
I mean, hey, Jason said it too. Okay, I'm not pulling this out of thin air. He said it. They got to get somebody that's a speed guy next to Vita Vea.
Yeah, and I don't think God, my recall this morning is not good. The defensive tackle who definitely flashed for them a couple of times.
Nacho,
not Nacho, the younger kid, Sills. God, my brain is just bad this morning. CTE, no doubt about it. CTE,
I know
100%.
you got CTE.
It's just they got to find a guy who's a little bit more, like a Warren Sapp. They just got to find a guy that's
pluck him.
And they move Tryon inside a little bit.
Yeah,
but
they tried that.
It's just a little too small.
I think Tryon's the potential's too good there on the outside.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
do. This year, I think they need to. Their best bet for rushing the passer. I think Shaq needs to go back first of all to the left side where he got the 19.5 sacks, or whichever side it was. He needs to go back to that side. Joe Tryon needs to play 70-80% of the snaps this year. I need to see more of them.
Yeah. And how do you pay Vita Vea? What are they paying him? 20 million a year now?
It's close.
Yeah. And play him half the time. I understand that he's got to be on a pitch count a little bit because of his size.
Okay, well then he needs to get down a little bit.
Well, he's not effective.
I think he could still be effective. I mean, look at how big his freaking arms are. He's one of the strongest guys in the league.
I would not mess with that at all. 100% would not mess with that at all. He's too.
There needs to be a conversation though. Like
he can't play 50% of the snaps. It's got to be closer to 70.
I'm sorry. Yeah, exactly. There's got to be a conversation there with like Vita. We just invested a lot of money into you at a time where we don't have a lot of money to throw. You've got to be on the field for 75% of the plays. He has to, because when he's not there, it is a drop off. It's just so far.
Well, when you start going up and down this roster with all the question marks, you at this point right now, the Bucs are in big time limbo, and Brady's the biggest part of that. And I do believe he's coming back, and I do believe he doesn't want to play for the Bucs. I don't. Again, I'm not reporting that. It's just that all the smoke and everything that everybody's reported, reading the tea leaves, and I think this is what this is going to be. I think it's going to be a showdown, and I don't know if the Bucs can win it. To be quite honest, if Brady doesn't want to play here, he doesn't want to play here. But I just, is it so hard for these guys, Rodgers and Brady, just to come out and say what they want to do? And I guess keeping it secret and playing it this way it gives you more leverage. So I guess it's the smarter play. But is it fair to your teammates? Is it fair to the organization? I know you've talked about this, that, Tom Brady gave us all this wonderful stuff and, we should let him go play somewhere else. It's like, we did a lot for him too. And the players that he says he cares so much about all the time would like to have some clarity. If you don't want to come back and play for the Bucs, say it out loud. And if you don't want to tell me why, that's fine too. But why can't you come out and say, I don't want to play for the Bucs anymore. I just want to go do something different. Okay, fine.
And you could pick
and if you're
apart.
Rodgers, Rodgers is all about, I love my teammates. I love them. Yeah. I love this. I love that. I was watching this morning on Get Up, and Mike Tannenbaum, they're going, and Louis Riddick are going down the numbers. I was like, you got to get this guy signed. You got to get this guy signed. Now, this guy deserves some money. That guy deserves some money. Preston Smith, but Devontae Adams, their middle linebacker, all these guys. You don't win games without those guys. These guys are all deserving of contracts, and you want to eat up $60 million of the salary cap? And then there's people that say, oh, well, it's not the Rodgers, it's not his job to do the salary cap. I get that. But if you want to win, do it the way Brady did. If not, don't sit there and tell me that you care so much about all these teammates and you want to eat up $60 million of the cap? I mean, at some point, I just have to tell these, how much is enough, for God's sakes? Like, what's the difference between 40 million and 60 million? I can do the math, but in your life, is it making that much of a difference?
Yeah.
Is it 7 feet more on the yacht? It really, I mean, seriously, does that more to you, Mr. Pachacama cleanse, spirituality, go to meditation, dude? Is that, I mean, you want to say all this esoteric stuff, but for you, it just comes down to the money. The money. It's not very spiritual. You're not helping out anybody. Come out and say, you know what? I'm going to take less money this year. I'm going to get all my teammates signed, and we're going to go kick ass.
Yeah. And
how about that?
I saw this list the other day, and I pulled it up right here, and it had the top paid quarterbacks in the NFL. And if you just go off the top 10, I mean, you want to listen to where these teams are and the lack of success for guys who eat up a lot of the cap. I mean, outside of Patrick Mahomes and Russell Wilson, or really Patrick Mahomes, since these guys have signed the contracts, nobody else in the top 10 has appeared in a Super Bowl. Buddy. You're talking about Dak Prescott, Deshaun Watson, Jared Goff, Kirk Cousins, Carson Wentz, Matt Ryan, Ryan Tannehill, Derek Carr, Teddy Bridgewater. These are all like the top highest paid right now. And they're only surrounded by the few and far names right here. So take that for what it's worth.
Yeah. I mean, it's a pretty simple formula. You eat up most of the cap, you can't spend it on other players. And those other players are going to go elsewhere. And that's kind of where the Bucs are right now. You know, once you get past, just the window is so small in this league. And I think the Bucs had 2 years of this window. And if Brady came back, they could make it 3.
Mm-hmm.
But evidently he doesn't want to come back and play here. So it is what it is. I just wish they would just be upfront and honest about it.
And you can maybe pick apart their character if you want, or their personalities, but I just don't think Brady's never been like that, you know, where he's going to just tell you up front, like, here's what I'm thinking, you know? He's always played this game. He always plays this game.
Doesn't make it right.
That's what I'm saying. You can pick apart how you feel about it, but just don't, that you're never going to get that straight answer out of Tom. And I think a part of what Bruce said about he wants his name out there, I do think that's true.
That's the least of it to me. No, it's not Brady. He doesn't need any more promotion.
He knows what he's doing.
No, I tell you why he's doing it, because he's trying to force the Bucs' hand. That's why he's doing it. He wants to let them know that, you know, make sure that everybody knows that he wants to come back, and then make sure everybody knows. Trust me, everything that's out there about Brady, about not wanting to play in Tampa and coming back, he wants out there. Trust me on that.
Maybe.
And he's trying to force himself out of here. And the Bucs know it, and why they came out and said 5 number ones, and we're leaving the light on. And it's bad business to trade him. And so it's all out there. I mean, this is what's going on. There's to me, that's not even a question about it. This is what's going on. And we're going to come down to a little showdown at some point. And and Brady does have the ultimate trump card. I'm not playing. He has the ultimate trump. I'm not. And so the Bucs have to realize that at some point. And that's why I think they're doing the right thing. Leave the light on for them. Set your price for the other guys. And if they don't come down to your price, you just plow forward. And, you know, Buck fans may not like it, but hey, Donovan Smith said this is going to be a great team. So
am I supposed to take him at his word for that?
Re-up your tickets.
Re-up my tickets.
Re-up your tickets.
Put another 3-year deposit in on those club seats.
Great team.
Great team.
Take it to the bank. All right.
I see 7 and 10 coming.
Well, especially with that schedule. Wow. Hey, the Golden Diamond Source is the place you need to be if you're looking for a special gift for that special someone. They've got so many unique things there. They have the Emma Leak collection, which is very, very distinctive and amazing. The Julieve collection, Julie Weintraub designed it herself. So if you want something distinct and different, which is what your ladies always want, guys, that's where you need to shop. Plus, they have the best deals. They have the best service. They have the best staff. By the way, if you want to sell your old gold, old jewelry, bring it in. They will give you the top price for that. They can turn around and use it on something special right there. That's the way you do it. You ask your lady, hey, you wearing this anymore? You wearing that anymore? You wearing this anymore? Nope. Okay, let's take it down there. Cash it in, get her something really sweet. She'll love that. It's the Golden Diamond Source. Check them out, 3800 Almerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. All right, when we come back, we're going to get into a couple of interesting stories going on. The
the size of Kenny Pickett's hands. Russian hockey players like Alex Ovechkin getting called out about the war. And Leah Thomas, the trans swimmer from Penn, getting set to go to the Nationals. Is this something that should be happening? A big article in New York Post is out. We'll talk about that when we come back. The PGA Tour's Valspar Championship is back in March in 2022, March 14th through the 20th, right in the middle of the best weather of the year and the last stop on the Florida swing. The Valspar has become one of the must-do events on the Tampa Bay sports and social calendar, so get your best tickets before they sell out. The game's biggest stars love the Copperhead course at Innisbrook. Last year, we saw Dustin Johnson, Justin Thomas, Jordan Spieth wow the crowds, and another star-studded field is expected again this year. Sam Burns took the title and will defend again at the Copperhead. This will be a full tournament with the return of Valspar Live, our free Saturday concert featuring Chris Young and Big and Rich, and other amenities including Chameleon Cove, the Hooters Owl's Nest, the Publix Chill Lounge, and other hospitality venues. Go to ValsparChampionship.com for tickets. The best premium hospitality areas will sell out, so don't wait. That's ValsparChampionship.com. Well, it's never been more important to support each other and support local businesses like Italiano Insurance that has been around for over 60 years, serving our community with great customer service and also giving back to our locals in need. Their Metropolitan Ministries Holiday Food Drive was another tremendous success this year. Why call a 1-800 number when you can call your trusted neighbors at Italiano Insurance who will save you money? In Boca Grande, 941-964-0400. That's 941-964-0400. Cryptocurrency is all the rage today. The market cap for the industry is now over $1 trillion. And you read about people making millions of dollars, right? You want to get in, but have no idea what to do? Or maybe you dabbled a bit and you want to unlock the real money-making opportunities and don't know how to do it. There are over 10,000 tokens and thousands of decentralized finance exchanges to navigate. So what do? You go to DeFiLava.com. The folks at DeFiLava.com are in Tampa Bay, and they work with you directly to set up custom accounts, answer all your questions, and provide market analysis. Decentralized finance and cryptocurrencies are here to stay and will change the financial markets as we know them. Get in the game. Get with the experts at DeFiLava.com and tell them JP sent you, and get their free 2022 crypto market forecast today at DeFiLava.com. Don't get left behind, folks. Make some money at DeFiLava.com. Homeowners, listen up. Property values have risen in the Tampa Bay area to record levels, some up to 24% in 1 year. It's time to refinance your home and pull out the equity before rates go through the roof. Call my man Scott Fitzgerald at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Scott believes interest rates will be over 5 very soon due to the volatile economy and inflation, but you can still lock in the mid-3s, but not for long. This means you can save tens of thousands of dollars over the life of your loan. Now, Scott is an independent broker, so he can shop your mortgage around for the best rates, and he will pay for your appraisal if you mention you heard it here on the JP Show. That's a $500 to $700 value. Scott does not charge the huge upfront fees like the big banks do. In this uncertain economy and political climate, better to have cash in hand now. So call Scott at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Getting old is inevitable, but feeling and looking old is avoidable. If you're feeling run down, your workout sucks, or your sexual libido is not what it used to be, check out Bay Area Modern Medical Center. That happened to me a few years ago, and I found out I had the testosterone level of a second-grade girl. That's not good. Our food, environment, and stress can cause your T levels to drop. Bay Area Modern Medical Center can help, and they are different. They offer customized hormone replacement for both men and women. Christopher Lugo and his medical staff can help you restore your energy, your sex drive, and your feelings of well-being. It was a total game changer for me. I have way more energy, lost 30 pounds, and I'm performing better in all areas of my life. Nobody wants to talk about sexual health, but it's key to a balanced life. We offer discreet treatments with real-world results. So if you're suffering from a lack of interest in sex, ED, or lack of sexual stamina, Dr. Lugo and his staff
can help. Take your health care to the next level at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com.
JP here for my friend, attorney Christopher Palermo. If you are having issues with a claim on your homeowner's insurance from a sinkhole, storm damage, water intrusion, defective stucco, and construction defects, or any other issue, Christopher is your man. These big insurance companies didn't get rich paying out what you deserve. Chris founded his practice in 2009 with a passion to help all Floridians with disputes where they were forced to take on the powerful and needed a champion in their corner. Chris wants to make sure you will receive the most aggressive and compassionate representations. He has recovered millions in settlements on behalf of his clients facing defective stucco damage and other construction issues. So call Chris, mention the JP Show, and he will give you a free consultation. That's 813-221-5636, or go to PalermoPA.com. He's a fifth-generation Tampanian graduate of Jesuit High School and the University of Florida, and he cares deeply about you and the community. That's 221-5636 or PalermoPA.com.
Are you selling your home or refinancing? JP here for Greenleaf Title. You choose the title company, not the realtor, and it makes a difference. You want a reputable company that will make sure your title is safe and secure. There are a lot of scammers out there right now. So go with a trusted company like Greenleaf Title. Plus, they will close anywhere, folks, and they will send a limo to pick you up to come to the closing. Yep, the great JP Limo Closing is back. All you got to do is give them a call at 727-258-6005 or go to greenleaftitle.com. We'll set the limo for you. They'll come pick you up. Heck, we even picked up one couple, took them to Black Rock Restaurant, one of our favorite advertisers, and then to the closing. That's how they do it at Greenleaf Title. Great service. We'll close anywhere. The lowest fees in the business. 727-258-6005 or go to greenleaftitle.com. That's greenleaftitle.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's rock. This is FanStream Sports with JP.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, presented by the law offices of Christopher Palermo. You can reach him at PalermoPA.com. You can also, or we are also brought to you by, in our second hour, Bay Area Modern Medical Center. They are a different type of primary care physicians. They look at your entire repertoire, what's going on with your body, not just this particular instance or that particular instance. They look at everything, get your diet right, get your exercise right, get you eating the right things that you're not allergic to, getting you on the right medicines, the right supplements. They look at everything, not just when you get sick. So it's a kind of different way of looking at things. It's Bay Area Modern Medical Center out at BAMMC.com, BAMMC.com. So it's Friday. We're going to get into some weighty topics and maybe some funny stuff as well. First, the weighty stuff. You wrote an article yesterday on Outkick about the Russian hockey players who are, and it's Russian athletes all over the world, really, that are getting a lot of attention, a lot of flack. Dominik Hasek called out Alexander Ovechkin, called him chicken shit. And he's been, Ovechkin has not been very secret about his relationship with Vladimir Putin. And obviously Putin is seen around the world, and rightfully so now, as a monster. I mean, what he's doing right now in the Ukraine is nothing short of completely despicable. It's grotesque. It's war crimes, killing innocent people, now attacking nuclear power plants. Boy, this will really get John Kerry and Joe Biden going now because of the environmental damage that who cares about the women and children that are being killed? But boy, you start damaging the environment, we got issues. But I mean, and I understand, when it's peaceful times, it's kind of, that's my man Putin on his horse with his shirt off, blah, blah, blah. But this is something completely different. But I, also feel for Alexander Ovechkin. He's pretty much an American now. I mean, he's grown up here. I mean, his kids have grown up here. He's played here for 17 years now, 18 years. Yeah. You wrote the story. What's your take on this?
Well, he has come out and he vehemently said, no more war, please. We need peace. It doesn't matter who it is. He did denounce, denounce all the war and all that. But I do think it is hard for him because he is just an athlete. And he said that, I'm an athlete. And at the end of the day, he's kind of strapped. You have to think from his point of view, he's really strapped to what he can say because his family is in Russia.
That's right.
They're in Moscow, especially right there in the heart of Russia.
And by the way, there are lots of reports out there of Putin. He's dismantled any opposition. Opposition leaders have been murdered. Anybody who speaks out against the war is being rounded up, and Lord knows where they're going. These are hardcore Stalinistic KGB tactics. So if you were to come out and denounce Putin like Dominic Hasek wants them to do, who knows what happens to his family?
Exactly. So that's why when people, like I say all the time, get on their high horse and they immediately start working their thumbs on the Twitter machine and they criticize these players. Why aren't you saying this right now that you don't like him and he needs to? What you have to understand, this is not America, bud. You can't just say these things and think that nothing's going to happen to you. And, first of all, be grateful for that.
Yes.
Ovechkin can't say that.
But that's not true. That's not true in this country anymore, by the way.
Maybe.
It's not.
Ovechkin, though, saying he said his piece, and I thought, given the limitations of what he probably can say, I thought he did enough myself.
I do too.
Everybody jumped on the Capitals for not making him available to the media the day it happened, right? And Ovechkin said he needed to really gather his thoughts before he said. And why are we going to criticize? He spoke to y'all the next day, and I thought he spoke coherently and gave you a well thought out response about it and saying no more war and this has to end. And he called for it to end. And I don't know the relationship Ovechkin has with Vladimir Putin, but based off what we're speculating, it might be something. Maybe he's had a conversation with him on the outlet. I don't know.
He's one of the most famous Russian athletes in the world. And then during peace times, would anybody be up in arms about Putin vacationing with Alexander Ovechkin or whatever? No. But maybe that's short-sighted because he's always been, these are not the first people he's murdered.
No.
Let's just put it that way.
No.
So I think it is a little bit short-sighted. But that being said, there's a real threat to his family. There's a real threat to a lot of people.
Yeah, and that's why.
And I've also heard for calls that the NHL should suspend all the contract of Russian players. That's ridiculous.
That's ridiculous.
Then you just assume that they're on board with everything that Vladimir Putin is doing. By the way, there's a lot of evidence to suggest that most of the Russian people are not on board with this because many of the people they're attacking are Russian.
Yeah, and I feel for for instance, FIFA, they said no more Russia, you're not being in the World Cup. And I feel for the athletes on those teams.
I really do.
Because, that's what you have to say. I think that's what the Caps GM yesterday, Brian McClellan, said, that I think we need to have more sympathy for the players because it doesn't really involve them.
No.
They just happen to have been born there.
Well, it's not like this is a democratic country, like that everybody is on board or voted for Putin and voted for his policies to go invade Ukraine.
No.
Somebody kind of explained this to me the other day. If you can, I know it's hard to imagine this, but maybe not so hard in our political times. But Ukraine is basically, let's say they're Texas, okay? And they at one point they were part of the United States, and then they broke off. Which again, Texas actually has in their constitution they can't secede for the union, so it might just happen. Maybe Florida should go too. But so they kind of seceded from this so-called Soviet Union, right? So, and it's kind of similar because there's so many Russians that live in Ukraine. There's not a huge difference between Ukrainians and Russians. They were part of the same country for a very, very long time in the Soviet Union. So, can you imagine our government now attacking Texas and people? My brother lives in Texas. My nieces live in Texas. Can you imagine them going in? Our government going in and destroying downtown San Antonio? No. Would you agree with that? Hell no, you wouldn't agree with it. And I think there's a lot of Russians that feel the same way. And I think there's a lot of the international community that feels like this is just something that Putin himself and his inner circle want to do for their legacy, so to speak, put the Soviet Union back together. I understand there's a strategic reason for it, obviously. But he already annexed Crimea. He has access to the Black Sea and ports and what have you. A lot of this is just, I know he's trying to, quote, secure his border, but does he really need to do that? It's certainly in the way he's doing it. Hell no. And to hold these athletes accountable for what this monster is doing? No.
And that's what I said when this all started. Everybody wants to talk about who to blame and who to criticize and who to go after. There's one villain here.
Yeah.
There's one villain, and leave it at that. Focus on that and like I said last week, I said it in the last half of the show when you took off, but And I said it for like 2 minutes. I was like, can we just be like sympathetic to the people in Ukraine?
Please.
Can we just do that? Like, I'm so sick of like everybody. This is what I said then. I'll say it again because it's still going on. And maybe the whole State of the Union speech, the timeliness of it, I guess, started the conversation again. Everybody's blaming everybody over here. This would have happened here. I don't know any of that, okay? I don't get caught up in that hoopla. I just know what's going on over there. And I'm concentrating on those people and leave it there.
Yeah.
Just leave it there. Stop blaming Russian hockey players. This is it's the most misguided blame that I've seen.
Yeah, the athletes, do not need to be part of this, and there's nothing that they can really do from a speaking out standpoint. It's going to make any difference.
No, and like I said,
except maybe get their families.
They have their families over there. They can't say these things.
No, so I would agree with you on that. So Leah Thomas is the trans swimmer at the University of Penn, who competed as a male up until 20 years old. And the New York Post big story on it yesterday. She smashed all the records in the Ivy League championships and is headed towards the national championship, where she is the favorite to win in a couple of big events. This New York Post article is I think they did a very good job of talking about her journey as from a man to a woman. And it's a very sympathetic story, and I'm very compassionate about it. I mean, there's definitely there are some deep-seated feelings and issues with her that she felt that she needed to do this. And I don't think anybody on this planet is against that. Nobody. And maybe there are still some people, but certainly I'm not one of them. I'm very compassionate about it. But I'm also, having covered sports all my life and covering women's sports all my life, and knowing how important it is to so many of these female athletes. And I think the idea that it's not a big deal that she is smashing records is such an insult to women's athletics as a whole. And that's why so many long tenured people in USA Swimming have resigned over this and spoken out against it. Michael Phelps has spoken out against it. And to me, this is what the issue is always going to be with transgender athletes. And now there's we have talked about this before. There's an Adidas commercial that's celebrating a trans woman competing against other women as a volleyball player, and showing her, spiking on other women and celebrating that. And I just, to me, and you see this athlete, 6 foot whatever, spiking. And you look at Leah Thomas, and it's very hard to get the right numbers on how big she is and how big she was as a man, and now what is her size now. And hormone therapy does not make you go from 6'4" to 5'8". And there are reports out there that she's 5'8", 150 pounds. She's not even close to that. When I looked it up, it appears that she swam as a man. She was 6'3", 6'4". And when you just look at her shoulders are so much wider. She's so much taller than everybody else. It's an incredibly distinct physical advantage. There's no question about it. And then when you look at the times and the records that she's smashing, it's not even close. But I did look this up as well. In the 50 free, men swim 11.7% faster than women. You can get these times up and down every event. Go look at the highest level men's in whatever event that she's going to compete in, and there's a definitive number. In the 800, I think it's 8.4%. Whatever that particular number is at the highest level that she's competing at. Why can't she not? Because I understand, and I think this would pretty much cover everything. Why can't she just stay on the blocks for 11.7% of that time before she is released into the pool? So all these other women who've been competing as women and are women have a level playing field. It's an even pool field, so to speak. Why? And I guess to even mention that is just dismissed right off the top. Oh, you're singling her out, blah, 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 blah. I mean, has she not kind of been singled out? Is that, to me, and what about, this is one athlete, but what about the thousands of other girls that have been swimming since they were 5 years old, getting in the pool, it's 4:30 in the morning before school, and training all their life? What about them? What about the 16 teammates that had to anonymously sign a letter complaining about her smashing all these records and being on the team? What about the rights of those girls? Do they not have any rights at all? And I understand it's a very complex subject. And everybody like me who speaks out somewhat against her is considered transphobic and all this stuff. And you get, hate mail and all this other stuff. And I just don't understand why people can't say this for what it is. And why can't that be an answer? She just stays on the blocks. I mean, we have an empirical number right now that is as accurate as anything, the difference between men and women in terms of how fast they can swim. Hold her on the blocks for an extra 2 or 3 seconds, whatever it is, 7 seconds, 8 seconds, whatever that particular event is. She jumps in the pool and she competes with the women. That seems to me to be the best answer for all. And making like hormone replacement therapy, that's supposedly is supposed to make it fair. The testosterone level. The testosterone level does not change the fact that you're still 6'4" with enormous shoulders and a huge reach. Does that not seem like a fair way to do it?
No, it seems reasonable if you're trying to find it, because I don't know if there's a right answer to any of this.
I think the only right answer is to have a third competitive group, but that seems to be out of the question as well, because then you're singling them out again.
Yeah, I mean, I follow this like kind of loosely, and I saw video of her competing and like lapping the competition.
It's laughable,
and I can't say that probably is what. I don't understand if you're whatever swimming federation there is, how that's good for them or they want to see that. But the precedent is being set here, because I think this has to be like one of the first. I think there's a few cases of it in soccer, or the World Cup in other countries.
Also, track and field.
Yeah, but like if this gets to like like the UFC level or like the MMA level,
we've
like
had
that,
a UFC.
I mean that,
and it was ugly.
Yeah, and that seems like a really slippery slope to go down, right?
Very slippery.
So every other sport, I can't see where it would happen, but those ones like that, where it's so based on your traits and your athleticism, I just don't see how it's fair. I really don't.
And here's another thing: when she goes to the nationals, okay, you have hundreds of athletes there swimming in so many different disciplines, right? Mm-hmm. That deserve their time in the sun. What do you think the media coverage of this is going to be? What do you think the percentage of media coverage of Leah Thomas is going to be compared to every other swimmer there?
Yeah, you know the answer.
98%. I mean, completely unfair to them as well.
Yeah, I know.
And what are we doing it for? I mean, this is and it's the worst part about it is people feel like they can't speak out against it. And I think you can, when it comes to competition, and it comes to this type of competition where the winning and losing is separated by literally hundreds of a second. And there's such an enormous advantage in here. And you, so much so that you separate men and women for a reason in competitive sports.
And I think the larger point here, at least in my end, is it's very contradictory about equality in women's sports, in my opinion.
Yes.
And I was about to tell you this. I don't know if you saw that. Did you see the WNBA story the other day?
No. Which one?
The New York Liberty. They just got fined $500,000, JP. And guess for what? Their owner had them flying on chartered flights to go in and out of games, because they usually had to fly, just like regular people.
Commercial.
WNBA Which, think about that. You're a professional athlete and you're being made. And to charter your own flight, the owner there was the same owner of the Nets, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And he decides to do charter flights. They were fined $500,000 for that. And there's other things that are coming down, including potential loss of the franchise.
But wait a minute. Isn't it better for the athletes to fly charter?
Yeah, and that's the reason. They say that it's an unfair advantage because they violated the CBA or whatever. But isn't that ridiculous anyway, that you're going to fine somebody that much money just for taking a chartered flight for your team?
Why don't you take that money and give it to the other teams, and they can afford charters too?
It's ridiculous, though. And like the fact that they even said that this could result in loss of the franchise.
So,
I mean, really.
So they're doing that for competitive balance.
Yeah.
And I've said this a million times. Look at all the things we do for competitive balance. Look at all the hoops we jump through to make sure things are, quote, fair. But yet we're going to let somebody who has been a man for 20 years of his life, that's 6'4", twice the size of these other girls, where size is a huge advantage in the pool, compete and just say, oh, it's a level playing field. Come on.
Everybody's all talk, no action when it comes to this stuff. I'm telling you this. It's like, that's why when everybody says about women equality in sports, I'm all about it. But if we're all about it, let's do something about it.
Be about it.
Be about it.
Be about it. Don't talk about it. Batman comes out tonight.
The Batman is out tonight.
So it's out last night, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. Midnight. The Batman, Robert Pattinson, who I don't even know if you know who he is.
I have no idea.
You just said I think he's the Cullen kid from the Twilight.
My son's name's Cullen, and it's the Twilight guy. That's all I know.
I'm not really a Batman guy. DC, I usually steer away. Oh, I already know what you're thinking.
So wait,
Go
there's
ahead, call me.
There's different camps. There's different camps of superheroes.
There's DC and Marvel. Do you think Captain America?
So you're a Marvel guy, so you can't watch DC. Oh
No.
my god.
Do you think?
Oh my god.
Do you think Captain America and Superman exist in the same movies? You probably do, don't you?
Of course I do.
No, they don't. They're separate.
They
There's
have to be.
contracts. There's
they have to
Sony
be.
here and
We
this
can't
here.
we can't mix comics.
No.
I mean, Leah Thomas, that's cool. We're fine with that. But if you start mixing DC and Marvel,
that's a whole different.
we gotta.
You can't do it.
No.
You can't do it. You want to know why you can't because DC gets.
I'm transphobic. What am I called if I don't think that's a thing? If I'm not a comic separatist, what do I get called for that? Let me just put it on Twitter. I'm sure somebody will call me that. No, really. There's two camps. I'm a DC guy.
Yes.
I'm a Marvel guy.
There is camps.
Really?
There's always camps. Nobody. If you're a Marvel guy,
we gotta
DC.
label everybody and everything so we can separate everybody.
Time
we
out.
can't have any unity anywhere in anything.
No.
Okay.
I will say this of the DC movies. So quick rundown. DC characters, the main ones: Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Flash. That's that side. Okay.
I love the Wonder Woman movies.
Okay.
I like.
There you go. Marvel is
Gal
Captain
Gadot,
America,
whatever.
Iron Man, Hulk, Thor, all that. That's Marvel. Okay.
Right.
There's a difference there. And
Who's the
DC movies are
Avengers?
not good. The Avengers are Captain America, Iron Man, Hulk, Thor,
Marvel.
and Black Widow. Yeah.
Okay. Spider-Man.
Yeah,
Marvel.
Spider-Man too.
Okay.
That's Marvel.
Okay.
Yeah, that's Marvel.
What's the difference?
There's a huge difference.
They're all stupid movies.
Shut your mouth.
Yeah.
The Marvel movies should all be up for the Oscars every single year, not these dumb movies that nobody watches that are boring.
Well, of all those you mentioned, I've liked Wonder Woman. That was good. Captain America was good. I thought Captain America was pretty good. I watched it. Which one? I don't remember.
Yeah,
the one with the shield. Are they? I mean, I thought they were pretty good.
You gotta. I'm telling you, you gotta do the whole Marvel universe thing. You gotta watch all 22 movies. And
That's not happening unless I'm incarcerated somewhere, forced to do
the
it.
best movies in the world.
Oh my god!
But
yeah, they're so
Batman,
believable, and the plots are just like the
they are
plot twists you can never
They
predict.
are.
Oh
You
no!
never know. So many twists and turns.
You know he's really not dead. You think he'll come back? Yeah,
I'm sure your boy Paul loves these movies.
he does. His brother stars in Aquaman.
Yeah, so we're gonna have to get him on next
What's
week to
Aquaman?
review. Aquaman stinks too. That's DC.
It's DC.
It
Okay.
stinks. Those
Did you
movies
just say
stink.
my best friend's brother's movies stink? We just lost getting Patrick Wilson on.
I'm
Way to go.
Hey, I'm a fan, and I'm gonna call it as I see it.
Oh,
That's it.
Paul's he's listening right now. I'm sure I'm going to get a text right now.
I know. I was about to say we got to get him on next week to talk about the Batman.
The Batman. No, I remember like the Batman when who had played Batman. God, my brain is
There's
just,
like the George Clooney's of the world.
didn't like it. Michael Keaton.
Mike Keaton.
I liked him as Batman. He was good. And then there was
Is it Heath Ledger, I believe?
Was it Heath Ledger?
Yes.
He was the Joker.
Oh, he's the Joker.
He was the Joker.
Who was the Batman?
The Batman in that
Then
one
the
was
Dark
good, too.
Knight. What
Yeah,
was
the
his
Dark
name?
Knight. You should know this.
Was it Ben Affleck?
May have been. I'm
not a big DC guy.
I could
so I
not
don't-
buy Ben Affleck.
There's
as a
so many
superhero.
Batmans. I can't.
I couldn't buy Ben Affleck as a superhero. I mean, you want me a superhero? James Bond. That's my superhero.
James not a superhero.
He's a superhero.
No, a
Do you see the
superhero-
chick that James Bond has
Stop.
got?
Robert Downey Jr. is a superhero.
Well,
Robert Downey Jr. is Iron Man. If he's walking in the streets,
I did like.
that's Iron
I
Man.
do like
That's Tony Stark.
I will say I liked a little bit of the Iron Man stuff because
Yeah.
he's Robert Downey.
He's cool.
Good actor. Very good repartee. But my favorite of all time superhero, you know this, Deadpool. That's my guy.
Of course it is, because it's rated R and it has your raunchy comedy for you.
And it's a satire on superheroes.
By the way, the one we're thinking of is Christian Bale.
Christian Bale, yes,
That
right.
was the
He
Dark
was
Knight,
really good.
which that's known as the best Batman movie.
Yeah, he was phenomenal in that, because he's a real actor.
Yeah, but Batman, I will say, of the DC, head and shoulders above all the other DCs. All the Supermans, they stink. They stink.
Yeah, Supermans were always so corny.
And they tried to do Justice League and all this stuff. Awful.
Yeah.
Awful. But yeah, there is a separatism there. Marvel, DC. Usually it's, and I don't read comic books. That stuff's for the bottom feeders, I think.
Right.
But apparently the DC comics are way better than the Marvels. That's what they'll tell you. I don't care. I'm watching a movie.
I might go see Batman. I heard now have we talked about Catwoman? There've been good Catwomen over the years. Hubba hubba.
You're always looking at your Catwoman.
Yeah. But also when you talk about Batman, to me, I'm this old, I go back to the TV series. Adam West.
Mm-hmm.
Now that was great.
Who was
TV.
Who was the Batman that played
Kapow?
Kapow. Who was the Batman that played with the Penguin? Who was that one?
That was Adam West.
Was that Adam West?
I mean, in the TV show was Adam West.
In the movie against the Penguin.
Was Michael Keaton?
That was Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
See, that was my favorite one.
The Penguin.
That was my favorite one.
Batman. I love the Penguin and the Joker. And you ever watched the TV series?
Yeah. I watched. I grew up on that.
God, so good.
Yeah.
Commissioner Gordon, the Batcave, the Batmobile, all those things. Oh man, love that show. That was the best. Guys my age will remember coming home from school, watching Batman, Flipper. Flipper was awesome. Greatest dolphin ever. They used to have a Flipper pool at the Miami Dolphin games back in the day too. Flipper, and then there was McHale's Navy, which was great show in Gilligan's Island. Now there was some throw in the Beverly Hillbillies right there. I mean, you're talking about some quality TV. And some of the greatest theme songs ever. They
don't make them like that anymore.
Batman.
They don't make them like that anymore.
They certainly don't.
They don't.
They do not.
I gotta tell you a story real quick. I don't know if you want to tell it off to the break or you want to take a break first.
How good's the story? We'll tease it. Put a lot of pressure on you.
I'll say it now. We don't technically have to take a break, so we'll say it now. Hey, this happened last night. I want to say this because, first of all, because Casey told me I have to say it.
Okay.
Because she says I always tell stories about her embarrassing moments. So
right.
I had a bad one last night, JP.
What happened?
I have goofed. That was bad last night.
What happened?
After the game, we left early after they scored the goal. I said peace. And we got in the car.
Sprite in front of you.
Yeah. I wanted to get some McDonald's, which I love. I love my 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock McDonald's. Love it.
You still have the constitution to digest. I remember in the day I loved it too. I'd go double cheeseburger, big double cheeseburger fan, and fries and a Diet Coke. Yeah,
I'm a McNugget guy.
Yeah,
a big McNugget guy. So we
no idea what those things.
No, I mean neither.
You don't want.
I don't want to know. But I'm going through the line. And I ordered my food, and I guess I was so excited. I ordered my food. I said thank you, and I drove away.
Oh my God!
And then I'm driving and I'm talking, and Casey's not saying anything. I look over, and she's just like this. You can figure out where I goofed.
It's a little selfish. It's a little selfish.
Exactly what
just thinking about yourself there, aren't you?
Yeah.
You're just locked in on them McNuggets, aren't you?
I totally forgot she was in the car for a second.
Oh my God.
And this is after she kept telling me I'm really hungry and I don't want to buy something here at the game, so we'll get something after.
If she doesn't break this off, I'll be shocked. How do you just not? Honey, what do you want? Like
I'm
nothing?
So used to going to the McDonald's drive-thru and just being like, yeah, 10-piece nuggets, fries, get out. And I just totally forgot. How
did she sitting right there?
I totally forgot. But I had an out though. I had an out.
You didn't.
Yeah, I did. I said, she's like, I was about to whisper in your ear what I wanted. And I said, well, what were you going to whisper? She's like, well, I was going to say I wanted a McFlurry. And I said, well, you know what? It wasn't going to be working anyway, the machine. Because it never works.
It never works.
It never works. So I was like,
there's a big lawsuit now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I told her, I said, see, I saved you embarrassment.
The disappointment.
The disappointment.
We're getting excited for said McFlurry and then having nothing.
Exactly. So there you go.
Yeah, that ain't working.
No, it did
that
not.
Ain't working
and
at
I
all.
went to the window and I said, can I add on to my order? And they're like, what would you like to add on? And Casey's
Oh, I thought
telling
you were
me,
already driving down the road.
well, now I'm going over to pay. And Casey's like, no, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. And I ordered her a side of fries.
Yeah,
And
because whenever they say don't worry about it,
yeah,
that you know what that means, right?
Worry about it.
No, it means half your meal is going to her.
And I had to
When that-
stop that from happening.
Can't have that. No,
So she
no.
wanted my fries, and
That's
I said,
like when
just
they
get you your own.
say I don't need a jacket when they're going to an outdoor hockey game.
Yeah,
and then you know damn well that your jacket's going to be on her within
stories for those too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's bad.
It was bad. It was a bad moment. For me.
Smart, good play though to get the extra fries though.
Yeah, and she's like, "Why'd you waste money on me?" And I was like, "Hey, they were 83 cents. I did not waste.
You didn't
any
go
money.
large?
No, I went small.
Small fries, 83 cents.
Yeah,
really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that. That's cheap.
83 cents, right?
Damn.
Listen, she's the same girl. I tell you all the time. Everywhere we go, she gets a kid's meal. I mean, she's a money saver. So
That's good. Well, many times, that's all they eat anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah.
She's learned that
Yeah.
to her credit and said, "I'm just going to get a kid's meal."
I'll be honest with you. I haven't eaten McDonald's in a long time.
You haven't gotten the land and sea special menu. You haven't gotten that yet.
No, I can't. That is. Is that a thing? Really? I thought it was a joke.
No, it's on the menu. It is on the menu when you go there, right in your face. They're advertising it big time.
Filet of fish, chicken, 2 patties, 17 pieces of bread in between. Is there special sauce on that sucker? There is.
There might be.
It's got to be some special sauce on there.
You'd have the little sauce they put on the filet of fish and the sauce they put on the burger.
Right, so nobody eats that like in one bite. You can't even do it. You have to dismantle it and eat it.
Probably, yeah.
Right. Okay. No, I do miss my double cheeseburgers though. I mean, when I drive by a McDonald's, it's very difficult to
smell
not.
to it, man.
It does, but it also has a smell to it afterwards.
Yeah, it does.
That you want no part of. No part of. Yeah, it just does not work for me at all anymore. But there were times. So enjoy it while you can until your gut ruts out like everybody else is from eating it. I guess we're never getting McDonald's as a sponsor on the show.
I don't think so, no.
But I mean, well, I will say though, the Egg McMuffin is just. It's that I think of all the things there, like that's got to be safe.
The Egg McMuffin.
Yeah. The Egg McMuffin. Just you got Canadian bacon, an English muffin. Pretty much, I think that's a real egg.
Yeah. I like the McGriddles. I kind of like the McGriddles.
I never told you my McGriddles story.
No.
My kids like McGriddles too, and they used to eat them. And I bite into them. I'm like, oh, that's good. The stuff tastes good. Ain't no doubt about it. But so I was up in North Carolina one time and I was at a resort staying with the kids and everything. And so in the afternoons, I would go out and try to get in 9 or 18. So you go to the resort and, usually they'll pair you up with somebody, because you're going out by yourself. So I'll pair you up with somebody. So I get paired up with this guy and we start talking. So I'm like, what kind of business are you in? He goes, oh, I'm a food supplier for McDonald's. I'm like, oh, really? That's interesting. I go, what do you do? He goes, well, we do most of their breakfast food. I go, really? I go, my kids freaking love those McGriddles. And he goes, oh. I go,
oh no.
What's all? He goes, oh. I mean, whoa, what's all? He goes, well, I said, your kids eat that stuff? Goes, oh no. I'm like, what the hell's in it? He's like, I don't know. It's he goes, it's not, I mean, it's not going to kill him. He basically says, look, what we do, what we supply is, it's average quality at best. He goes, it could be a lot worse. He goes, there are companies that do it worse than we do, but McDonald's really hammers you on price because of their incredible volume that we do with them. And they're constantly, hitting you up to take the quality down. And when you take the quality down, it's less healthy. It's just, I'm not going to get into it. He goes, but I wouldn't let your kids eat that very often. Just a treat once in a while, but not very often. I was like, oh, wow. Alrighty then. Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. You get for what you pay for. It's an old adage in life. It's pretty correct. You get what you pay for. If you're paying 83 cents for some fries, it might not be real food. I'm just
Casey said one of these is going to get stuck under the seat and it's going to look the same exact way in 3 years.
These stories are true. I mean, don't they have webcams of like burgers that are sitting that are still sitting there looking exactly like what they did when they came out? I mean, that's scary stuff. But it's good. It tastes great.
Oh, I'll tell you what, we just spent 10 minutes talking about McDonald's. So
I know.
we got 2 minutes left. So give me your wacky story.
My wacky story,
or whatever sports one you got here at the end.
Well, I think I've exhausted all my my wacky stories of the day. Nothing else. No. Oh, we never talked about. All right, this is a wacky story. So they're talking about the size of Kenny Pickett's hands on Good Morning Football the other day.
Yes,
he's got 8.5-inch hands. I mean, when these conversations, it just has to have subliminal meanings. It's a double entendre waiting to happen. So then Mike Robinson, right, is on there. He says, "Yeah, my wife loves to watch the 40-yard dash at the combine." And Kay Adams perks up and goes, "Oh yeah, I love to watch the 40-yard dash." And then Mike Robinson goes like, "Yeah, my wife likes the tight apparel that they wear." And they're showing guys running the 40 in their tight apparel, and everybody knows what I'm talking about. But for a man to come on Good Morning Football and say his wife likes looking at other guys' junk as it's running down the field, and Kay Adams go, "Oh yeah, I love watching that."
Yeah.
And I'm like, and as any other white man in this world, as we watch that go by, feeling incredibly insufficient, going, "Oh my God," you're like saying, "Okay, my wife loves watching that."
Yeah. Why is 8?
And they have an upside down pineapple in front of their house, I'm guessing as well. Look that up.
Why is 8.5 feasible for that, but not for hands?
Yeah. By the way,
what's the problem here?
We're measuring everything.
We're measuring everything.
Oh my God. Where did that go? All right. Well, you asked for it. That'll do it for this week's episodes of the JP Peterson Show. I'm sure that clip is living on Twitter somewhere. When I hear Kay Adams talk about it, okay, but man, Mike Robb, I don't know. All right. Thanks so much for joining us today. Thanks to Anthony Becht, who joined us today. Great segment on the combine and the tight ends and what's going on with the Buccaneers. Check that out. You can always go to our app and check it out each and every day. And we'll have a great weekend, everybody. Go Bolts tonight against the Wings.